It would be for the public, right? Getting that information out there when it comes to maybe a police shooting. Well, the story is that in the Carolinas, this is in North Carolina, the law has just passed, and I believe the governor has signed it, where police body and dashboard camera recordings are now out of public record. It'll be tough for the public to get to see them. Evan Brown, has the governor signed this already?
He has. Good morning. The law won't go into effect until October, but yes, he has. The governor there, Pat McCrory, has signed this already.
So what do we know here? What do we think? Are people up in arms over this?
There are people who are upset about it. They say it will make it more difficult to hold officers accountable when or if their conduct is called into question. Because it won't be as easy to get a hold of these recordings as it has been. For instance, since the recordings will not go into the personnel files of the officers, they won't be public record. But, however, the recourse is if you want to see the tape, if you are involved in an incident and you want to see what was recorded, you can request that of the police department. And if they don't fulfill your request, you can take them to court.
I see. So that's certainly going to muddy up the process.
It potentially will, and to be honest with you, I don't know how a law like this would hold or pass constitutional muster.
I wondered about that too. Yeah.
I think that there might be a problem constitutionally with it in terms of being able to see the evidence against you if that's the case. So I think that someone would probably file suit over this law, and it'll get worked out by the court system.
Right.
So you're saying a constitutional violation for the individual who has the interaction with police, but not necessarily the public and the media?
Well, by extension, the public and the media is part of that.
Sure.
We see these types of lawsuits happen quite frequently where police are withholding something. Let's say it's a 911 call for a major incident of newsworthy value, and the police won't release it. Well, there may be more than one media groups that get together and they sue. Saying, hey, you can't hold on to this. You have to let us go. This happened as recently as the Orlando nightclub attack, where the police and FBI were withholding the 911 recordings. And there were a couple of newspapers that filed suit saying, you have to release this to us.
Yeah.
This is public knowledge.
It's
supposed to be public knowledge.
It is interesting because that's without any new law being passed in Florida. Same thing I was told by a police officer here. The rules and the laws in New York State, very, very strict when it comes to this. And it would take a court action, pretty much, to get a dash cam or a body cam video released here in New York.
Well, yeah, if they in fact just don't want to release it. Now, many times the police department or the prosecutor's office are okay to release things, and they have no problem with it, especially if they're done getting the information with it that they need for their case. And then often it's released to the public. It is of news, value to the community. In some cases, there may be instances where police don't want to release them. And that's where the problem comes about, because if there is some police misconduct and that video could show that, people making a case at that particular moment could be using that video for the right purposes, and so they want to have access to it.
It would be I don't know how, if this case were ever to go, to the Supreme Court, let's say a police department just does not want to release the video. I don't know how a Supreme Court would ever decide that the public doesn't have the right to see the video. And who knows? Maybe it'll never go to the Supreme Court.
Well, I mean, they would have to argue somehow that it's classified, that there's some sort of national security incident that would protect them from withholding the tape. Remember, we don't always see all the evidence in those things, and a lot of things, especially if it is a terrorist-type incident, some of that information is withheld from the public because it may contain classified information. That would really be the only way around it, but I don't think that a traffic stop ending poorly would constitute that.
Yeah. Well, what this officer told us yesterday is this is really new. The body cam's obviously new.
Yeah,
And-
it's new for everyone.
Yeah.
So the rules around them just sometimes we don't know what to do because, like you said, it's a new thing, and so
Yeah.
we fight with each other and we come up with a decision and we go to court, and that's what sets the precedent on how to conduct business with this new item
Yeah.
and new technology.
Who knows? There may be no use for the body cam and the dash cam because everybody's Facebook living the events anyway. So
Well, there you go.
crazy. All right, Eben Brown, thanks so much. We
You
appreciate it. All right, Eben Brown of Fox News. A lot of crazy stories out there. Big ones today that I want to dig into. Also, there's one, and I'd be interested if you're a baseball coach or a parent of a baseball player, you are or were. Big deal in Little League, but it really has never really been addressed in high school, and that is the pitcher's arm, pitch count. A big decision came down this week, and it involves New York State schools and athletics in baseball. It will include Section 3, and it involves the pitch count. We'll talk about it when we come right back here. Hold tight.